Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy SPEED here, and today I got a really funny game. I don't know what the title is gonna be. It's probably gonna be something along the lines of like, I smashed BSJ or something stupid like that. But nonetheless, this is gonna be a really fun video. I did, we've been grinding. We're really high now. I'm really happy with myself. 7.4 MMR, and the purpose of today's video is just to try to get inside of my mind. Just talk about every single thought I had. So, I've been doing these replay analysis live, but I think this is going to be a lot better in terms of like a learning experience. It might be like slightly less entertaining from just like a woohoo vibe, but it's going to be a lot more in-depth on every single thought I had when it came to this game. And it was a really weird game. Our team was getting stomped. Things were not looking good. I don't think I was making good plays. I wasn't like coordinating proper plays with my team. I don't feel like my team was doing well in general. My mid laner got crushed after the laning stage. And so yeah, let's hop into it. It's gonna be really fun. It was really funny, my first game, because we got the BSJ profile. You guys know how to. You gotta smash the like button for the BSJ profile. And we finally played against BSJ himself on the Terrorblade. It was a really high MMR game. It was BSJ, CCNC, Royoya, Brax, DNM. I'm actually not sure this player's name because it's obviously not here. Someone said it, but I can't remember it. But it was a really high memory game, and yeah, let's get into it. But before we do, remember that we do actually run a website. Believe it or not, if you click the like button, you'll eventually get 50% off on the gameleap website. Not right now, but if you click the link down below, you can actually go check out the website. We post content there every single day that's going to help you get to the next level. Literally, I make videos on so many different topics. I just started making an Invoker course, for instance. Before that, I did a support course, and you can check these videos out over on the gameleap website. You're gonna watch them, and you're gonna be like, wow, Speed, I wish I knew from the beginning how great this service actually is. Nah, I'm just playing, but it actually is. So click the link down below, go give it a shot, and I'll see you guys there. Actually, one more thing, guys. I read this comment yesterday, and I just want to get this out of the way. Like, I know I've said this in other videos, but the comment was like, hey Speed, I love watching your AK series, which appreciate you, brother, but it's kind of sad that I can't learn anything from it, right? Because it doesn't relate to my pubs. And I just want to say that it's just not true. And you should be very careful if you have that mentality, because you're going to learn a lot more if you open up your mind to think like, hey, what can I learn from these pros? What are they doing? Can I find things that they're doing that I'm not, that I can incorporate into my gameplay? Because if you can figure it out, if you can do things that the pros are doing that no one else in your bracket does, which I'll explain to you throughout the video, you're gonna win your games. You should never think like, oh, I'm watching a pro game, this doesn't apply to me. I mean, that's far from the truth. Are there levels of synergy that maybe don't happen as fast in your pubs? Of course. But that does not mean there aren't a ton of things that you can learn. All right, let's get into it. So, in the laning stage, first things first, look at my positioning, okay? My positioning, I really want you, for everyone watching this, even if you're a safe lane player, offlane player, mid lane player, pay attention to this point. It's very key. So if I go back here to the start of the game, I want you to take a look at how this play, so this Mirana stole our bounty rune. I want you to know how this play drastically changes how I position and play the lane. So they take my rune, Royo going for the psycho mode play, and we kick him out, right? So he uses 3 leaps. I even note that. I'm like, okay, he uses 3 leaps. That obviously means he has no arrow. Because of that basically means to me that I can play a lot more aggressive in the lane. Because if I step out of position as a 285, 2 armor hero against a Gush arrow, I will die. But I know there's no arrow. I still have to be careful about Gush, right? I still can just take literally 3/4 of my health because of Gush auto attacks. So I can be a little bit more aggressive, and you'll see that here. My movement is in accordance with this. I overextended a little bit there, but look at this next set of positioning. You're gonna see me walk up after I microed my career because I thought Mirana was going to snipe it. But you're going to see me walk up and trade super hardcore, and this is purely because I know there's no arrow. And that follows this next wave. So right here, this is what I'm talking about. Honestly, you could even argue to some extent like this is a bad play, because the reason why this is a bad play is because Medusa doesn't do that much damage to Tide. It's like, okay, right? It's not nothing because he probably doesn't have Kraken yet. Okay, he hasn't skilled it. More often than not, they take Anchor Smash, so they won't have Kraken yet. And so you don't do that much damage. But the big problem here is the fact that Tide's 2 and the Mirana's on my right side. So if Mirana had arrow and I get Gush into arrow, it's basically guaranteed death, because especially because of the Anchor Smash. He can hit, Anchor Smash, hit again, it does an insane amount of damage, and I'm guaranteed dead. He ends up just gushing Medusa, probably because he felt like he couldn't kill me, but my positioning there is 100% suicide if it's, if it's the normal lane. And so just always keep that in mind. Like, That's the type of stuff that can really help you gain MMR, like being able to just push yourself a little bit further. This was pretty funny. Being able to push your lane a little bit further, being able to go just a slight bit further, only because of just noting something down, noting a skill build. Okay, so the next set of movements I think are very important for like just basically understanding the game state and understanding your purpose in the game. What do you guys think is like the major timing for AA? Right, when is AA at his peak in the game? So AA is at his peak in the game when he's level 6. It's basically like that period in time when you're level 6 and then like the next 5 to 10 minutes. That's when you're really at your... Also, level 7 is good when you have maxed out Ice Vortex. This spell is incredibly good. I'm also maxing out this game. Basically, the reason why I do that is I think their heroes are pretty weak to magical damage. Like, Tide hates magical, Terribly hates magical, even TA is a pretty high armor hero. She hates magical, and most importantly, I have a Leshrac and a Nyx. Axe is okay, but it's mostly the Lesh and the Nyx. I just feel like it's a really good game. On top of that, these two heroes in particular, the Tide and the Terribly, don't have innate ways to be mobile, right? They don't have like Burrow Strike or you know, Pounce. So they get stuck in Ice Vortex. Even TA to a large extent, if she doesn't have Blink Dagger, which CCC didn't even go this game, makes Ice Vortex really good. So I love it against those type of heroes, and so I thought this was 100% a Ice Vortex max game. But the big play I want to talk about here, whether or not you're a core support offlane, it doesn't really matter. You have to be able to look at the game state and say, okay, what is my job, right? Like, what is going to enable me to get to my spike? Now, sometimes your spike is less important than your teammates. For instance, if you're playing Bane, and it's a hard game, your team's getting crushed, you might need to go run into their jungle, put down a deep ward to get out some vision, and then like tank a gank, tank a smoke, or just tank some sort of movement to enable your teammates, maybe a Timber to hit 6, or, you know, a Puck to just get some levels or whatever, right? And so there's that. But in this game, my team's chilling bottom, they're getting the tower. It's, you know, Lesh is so strong early on. This hero, I love this rotation, by the way. He goes bottom, he opens up the map for me, which I don't know if that's intentional or not, probably not, but he goes bottom for me, gonna take the tower on the cart, which they kept alive, well played to them. They also have this axe timing as well, he has Vanguard on the courier, and so they can get this tower for free. It's gonna take a minute, but they eventually get it, and I'm able to work towards my timing as well. And that's all I really care about, right? I just want to work towards my timing, just get towards... Oh my god, I got arrowed. Oh my god. Dude, this all would have been so great, because I'd be level like 5.5 after this wave. Not 5.5. I'd be like 5 1/4 after the wave, maybe wave in a quarter, and I just feed. Oh my god, that's such a throwy death. I can't believe I got hit by that arrow. It's still the right play though. And so my main thing is like, a lot of supports would have TP'd bottom there, not identifying like, hey, my hero needs 6 to be like really useful. AA is pretty bad before 6. It's one of the... Honestly, I think AA might be one of the worst supports pre-6. Like, his spells are just not that good. So next up, they end up diving mid. I don't regret the play that I make here. I TP in, pretty standard. You know, I'm not going to go bottom. The wave's way too far in for me to set something up. I'd rather just defend this mid tower, work together with my Leshrac. Joke's on me, I guess, because unfortunately... Oh my god. Dude, they literally... They missed so many stuns. They missed both their stuns. I'm like, what? We made the... You know, it is what it is. This is where guys, like, you know... The reason why I wanted to show this clip is just to say, pros are human, and we're gonna have another clip of this. Only because, like, I know from my experience when I was trying to gain MMR, I always had that bad feeling where I'm like, pros are so much better than me, they know so much more, and to a large extent, that's kind of true. But... at the same time, they're human, and so, you know, we missed 2 stuns, and on top of that, my favorite part of this clip is the fact that I forget about Psyblades. I was like, oh my god, JJ. Axe gets run down as well, so game's not looking too good. So what's kind of gonna be my way back into this game? Now, there's usually a couple good options for AA. Number 1, you need to identify who you can blow up with your ulti. Well, first of all, you have to get your ulti to do that. Unfortunately, my timing was absolutely crippled by the original arrow, which is why Dota is such a game of snowballs, right? It's such a snowball effect, massive ball effect. But my other play is really just to also enable my Medusa. So I take a couple stacks. At this point, I really felt like I just needed to get this tome out. I will say I make the classic game leap mistake, which is not instantly shipping the tome. I mean, I guess for good reason, we end up getting this TA kill, which was massive. So this is super great. It ends up getting us 6 anyway, just based off these 2 kills, which was good. But now what I really wish I did is I really wish I was more aware of my teammates and what I could have done with my ulti. Now, to be fair, Axe didn't have blink yet, and Nyx's ultimate was down, so I actually don't think there's much I could do right now. And so it wouldn't be the best idea for me to make a smoke play. So the next clip I want to take a look at is kind of a mentality thing. I think it's like one of the mentalities that I really believe like I need to work on in life, and that I think a lot of like Dota players just need to work on in general, which is like you can't associate the result of one instance or one situation to the rest of the game or the rest of your life on a broader scale. But for instance, right here, we're going on a Tide Hunter. All right, this looks good. We know the rest of his team is actually not here. We were aware of that. Looks like a free kill, right? Mainly because Axe, if you taunt Tide, he can't purge it. Really nice matchup in that regard. Now, we see the Tide, so I expect my Axe to blink column here. So I chuck my ulti, expecting that, right? For him to call him there. Didn't call him there. Called him here, out of the blast. Now, you're probably like, oh, you kill him anyway. Nope, Bushwhack came in, we don't kill him. He actually gets away on, like, no HP. And that was obviously very tilting. The thing is, that obviously happens to pros, right? I mean, that literally, he's a pro. And you could also blame it on me. I could have waited for his call. I do think it's his fault, but it doesn't matter. The point is, like, is literally, it's a good segue into my point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now, do I tilt? Yes. Do I get angry? Yes. However, if we're trying to gain rank, which I know we are, and we're trying to have fun, if you're trying to have fun and trying to gain rank, then there's no value in me saying, okay, the next play won't work. I don't trust you, Axe, or telling Axe to, like, you know, go frick himself. So now 18 minutes in, we were 19k behind, and honestly, I actually thought this game was just about done. Obviously, you never give up. That'd be quite depressing. But really, the main play I felt like we had to make now was either try to get a pick off on this deep ward, or just let them run into us. Like, that's kind of your best options. Whenever you fall really far behind in the mid to late game, you kind of just have to find a way to burst people. Now, when you have AA on your team, you generally can burst people, especially with Axe, right? Just because of the taunt, unpurgeable. And so, I really felt like we need to smoke. I think I ended up calling a smoke soon. That was kind of what was going through my head. I'm like, we need to get out onto the map, because if we just play this TA game, they're just going to choke us out until next Roche, take the second Aegis, and then go high ground with like a million items on TB, and it's going to be really hard for us to do anything. We actually have very bad deep push. Deuce is good, but the rest of our heroes are not too good at deep pushing. And so yeah, the next sequence I want to talk about is like right here. This is a big feat on my part, and this is like me not really reading the map. I did assume they were here, I just was trying to sneak down a ward, but I kind of have to read the map a little bit better. So in these very high MMR games, the map gets collapsed on. You know, this is they kind of take this over, right? They take over like this portion of the map. You can see how they can farm this if they want. They could farm this, and we get to farm this. It's about a 70-30 split in their favor. So basically, at this point in the game, you kind of have to take a chance, take a risk, or at least try to get the waves out, which, you know, is also a risk. So what I felt like we should have done, which we didn't do, is I should have backed up and smoked my two teammates to either down to here and met up with Lesh, right? And maybe we find someone who tries to, like, pick off the Lesh, or we catch people off who TP in one by one, or we have to, like, smoke up and get into here top. Now, me being silly, I don't do that at all. I just walk up the hill. Naturally, they're kind of just waiting there so that they can surround top next. But yeah, regardless, just keep that in mind when you're behind. Like, you have to have that idea of, like, we need to try to do something. So I like that my team here, even though I don't think this is a good way for us to go about it, like, I actually think this is pretty low skill on my team. And by the way, I need to facilitate a better play to gain MMR. It's actually a very important thing if you have the capability. And so here, I really feel like I need to get my team smoked out onto the map, because now that they kind of know we're just, like, chilling up here, our map's getting collapsed more and more. We're just going to fall even further and further behind in net worth. And you can see that's why I popped the smoke here. Now, nothing happens from the smoke because, unfortunately, they were still waiting on the sale. I popped my W just to check if anything was happening. It actually almost kind of worked. The Mirana walked out, but, like, just a bit off on the call. Very unfortunate. I think that was the right idea. Just barely off. Either way, that was the right idea, though. You know, a little bit of desperation. You got to get your team on the same page. You got to get them smoked. And that's what I did there. Now, the smoke actually did end up kind of just letting us get out at the least. It sort of did. It, like, my team, because we were smoked, they didn't know we went to the bottom side, so at least we could sort of dip out a little bit there. Not that things really changed. We were still closed in. But once again, I was kind of ready to try to call for another play, try to get my team out onto the map, because you can see here, they just started invading our jungle. I'm even ice vortexing the hills. I'm basically trying to say, hey, you know, like, take me, don't take my cores, and that was my goal. just to sort of protect these hills, get vision, and then eventually when I can set up a play. It's not easy though. You'll see, like, even here, my team, we're trying to get out waves, we're trying to farm, but that's sort of why you got to keep pushing the idea. Like, I think I waited for them to push out the wave here mid, then I just smoked us. Yeah, so I smoke us, and then we end up calling the tie, which is okay. It's definitely the worst target on their team. I felt like maybe we could have committed if Nyx was here, but unfortunately, another blown smoke. However, I don't know how this worked. I guess he kind of just assumed, like, I think CCNC here assumed that because we went on that tide, we're not playing the bottom side of the map, but we did have a little bit of vision on him, and as a result, we were able to get a massive kill. So this completely turned our game around. This kill here onto the TA. Frankly, fortunately, we do have enough damage to kill her here. As a result, it was a really late Ravage in an attempt to save her, which is obviously super good for us. And yeah, ends up being a absolutely massive engagement. And talking about the TB counter, you can see TB just can't really move. Like, this is why AA, in my opinion, is one of the best TB counters in the game. It's just like, I mean, Ice Vortex is just so bad for him and his illusions. They just don't have the mobility, right? So the next fight was the biggest fight of the game. Let's just take a look from my perspective and what I think I did right and what I did wrong. So my team ends up getting a huge set of pickoffs. Great start to the fight. We found the tide. We caught the hoodwink right after. And now it's basically me and the Nyx's job as we were together here to kite out this TB. Now there's a couple things that are very important here. And the main one's just that I don't panic and I don't waste my key spells. So you notice when he meted, I didn't instantly go Scepter. Because I understand, number one, his attacks have projectile speed, right? So if I am going to go Scepter at all, I should at least wait till he throws out his auto attacks to buy as much time as possible. Now, I kind of assumed because I was going up a hill, he wouldn't be able to hit me at all, or only once, which hopefully wouldn't kill me unless he, like, double crits. Does he have a crit? Yeah, so unless he double crits. But I don't panic, right? I don't. So I throw out the Cold Feet, which is important. We stack that with the Nyx stun. Pretty big. Continuing to throw out Ws. I know the team fight's going to happen in this area. I see the TA on my right as well. So I'm like, okay, even though I do not love the concept of throwing down a ward like this after we get pickoffs, I'm still going to do it. Now, why would I not like throwing down wards like this after pickoffs? Because I want to try, if we do get pickoffs and we can transition it into more of an advantage, I'd rather get my wards down deeper on the map. But because the TB is still alive, the TA is still alive, I don't think I realized that Hoodwink bought back. But because the cores were still alive and they were still going, I deemed it necessary or good enough of a reason to throw down a ward and keep the vision. Once again, continuing to kite out the TB, but not panicking. I don't panic throw my ulti. I don't panic throw my Q. I do eventually realize that, hey, the TA is getting very low. I will get out my ulti onto the TA. She doesn't have the Aegis, so that's a free kill. I got a little bit too close, so we got the Sunner off. Honestly, I don't know why he Sunnered me and not Dusa. I guess she was stone gazing. Okay, I think BSJ was afraid of the stone gaze, which makes sense. There's a chance you just get clipped and bursted, so I think it's probably about the right play. But yeah, once again, not worrying too much. Thankfully, at this point of the game, my Medusa, I mean, I wouldn't say she was like Giga Farm by any means. It was a great job by my team, but it mainly started out with the pickoff from our Axe and our Dusa, so they did the majority of the work in that fight. However, I do think that my ability to position well there, keep up the vision, focus the main targets, and kite out the TB was a very high impact for what I could do. And always just keep that in mind, like, how much are you panicking in team fights? Because if you panic, it kind of just means that you don't have the capability to basically slow down your mind, slow down your nervous system or whatever it is, you know, your fight or flight, and react more rationally. So next, I've actually decided to switch it up. Let's take a look at this game from the Axis perspective. This is Brack's perspective. Okay, so I want to play this fight really slow, so I can talk about a concept that I think like a lot of people just haven't heard of or are not strong with yet. So fight breaks out. We are currently stalling Roshan. You can see the TA is trying to take it right now. It's a very awkward fight. Our Deuce is dead, and so we just have to stall things out. We send out some illusions. He's just trying to scout. Now, then Rana sees an opportunity to go on Lesh, who does not have a BKB, and therefore she thinks she can set up an arrow. Now, why in the world does Brax not instantly call here? Okay, because this is a key thing. Why does he not, like, I'm going to play very slowly. He could have called her at any point. Why did he not instantly blink call Mirana? Now you might be saying, oh, because he wants to call the backline. That's actually incorrect as well. He doesn't want to call the backline yet. What it has to do with is follow-up. Follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. A lot of initiators have no awareness or don't have the capability to have the awareness of thinking, can my teammates follow up? Does Axe do any damage with what he currently has? no shard, Manta on cooldown. Even with Manta up, it still wouldn't be that much because of the state of the game. It's 31 minutes in, kind of late, right? For his items. He's not, obviously, it's not some like super carry axe game. This is more of an offlane axe game. And so he doesn't insta-call because the follow-up wasn't there. Leshrak's even in the air, right? Now, he still doesn't call. Reason being because he was really waiting for just a good opportunity to find someone useful that we could blow up. Doesn't find it, blinks out. I will say that to some extent, maybe he could have jumped the hoodwink here, secured the either easy kill. I think he was kind of trying to hold the blink for an opportunity to snipe the Roshan as it was getting low. I think that was probably his first choice. Maybe just didn't see the hoodwink, to be fair. I didn't even see the hoodwinked at first. I didn't expect the wrap. You can see this is my camera. I didn't see hoodwinked as well. I was not looking at my minimap here. But regardless, even if he blinks to here, he doesn't want to get stuck. The second half to this is if you blink in commit, number one, there needs to be follow-up a lot of the time. Most of the time. Almost always if you're playing Axe. And on top of that, you kind of need a way out. Unless it's like that good of a kill. He doesn't have a way out. He is stuck. And so he cannot blink in unless he has a way out with his current items. Which is why Dota kind of gets complex. And no, he's not thinking about all this in the moment. For him, it's all intuition. The reason why it's important that you hear from me is because now, hopefully you understand these concepts and say, oh, okay, that makes sense. And can start trying to implement it into your gameplay. And most importantly, if you watch your own replays or pay attention to your own gameplay, you can see it as well. So yeah, that's kind of what we see here. He didn't see a good opportunity to go in where he could get out. Maybe saw it with the hoodwink there, couldn't connect. Once again, isn't going in here. This looks like a really freaking juicy call, right guys? Be honest with me guys. How many 3K players would jump this? A lot. And you might be saying, but Speed, it's a 3-man call. But what's the problem? Who is dead? Medusa. We do not want to take a massive, like, head-clashing teamfight without our Medusa. We have to play the kite game. You have to play the kite game. And that's why he doesn't go in here. Like, I really want you guys to understand this. It's so crucial to me. Because 99% of players would have went in there. They would have went in there. Still not going in. Still not going in. Still not going in. Still not going in. Why? Because it would be way too easy for TA to basically do half his HP with a couple auto attacks and TB to follow up with a reflection, maybe meta, and wipe them up. And so we do have to full disengage, but that was the right call. A lot of people would look at his gameplay. Twitch chat would look at his gameplay and say Brax lol and say this makes no sense. I don't know why I'm not high MMR. This guy, look, this guy has no clue what he's doing. He knows so much that him doing nothing was the correct play. And by the way, of course there's instances where pros go in or don't do anything when they should have. You know, like, that happens. But I really wanted you guys to see that example. I thought it was great. Alright, let's look at one more team fight. On top of that, this team fight, like, goes to show that people are human. I don't know why. I really don't know why he dove. I honestly feel like if CC's... Maybe he's bored. I actually just think pros get bored because he used the meld the spell talent. We can't do anything to him. At least it's really hard. I honestly felt like they could have sieged. But I think he... Okay, I guess his opinion here is like, hey, this Nyx Assassin with Ags is going to be such a problem that we should just try to kill him based off that arrow. But, yeah. He got off Spike Carapace and was just so tank. He's just so tank. He's just so tank. Got off his Ghost Scepter, lived. I had a 4-staff for him too. I didn't use it on him because I realized that, you know, he was fine. But yeah, CCC overextended. And my Nyx played it like a beast. So good with his spellcasting there. Got everything off. But yeah, it's just like, man, gotta be careful at diving, boy. It's gotta be careful. Regardless, let's look at the jumps one more time. Once again, doesn't want to jump here. Kites out the Ravage, really nice movement. Decides to commit on the Mirana here. I think this is more of a desperation call than anything. I don't necessarily think this is some god tier call. Even if he was to hit the other two people, it doesn't really matter. Only because, like, I don't see great follow-up, but fortunately with the shard, wait. Oh, no, he wasn't. Yeah. I was about to say, he was about to get... No, he couldn't even get that kill. So, yeah, it did force a little bit of HP onto the Mirana. But even here, I love what he does, right? A lot of people would have ran in. He waits at his blink, pays attention to his timer, waits it out. Really nice blink, really nice call, perfectly timed into the A blast, into the Nyx stun, into the Leshrac damage. Huge kill for us. Follows it up with the Tide kill. Absolutely massive turnaround. That's a dieback, I believe, onto Quinn. And yeah, we are off to the races. I mean, that was crazy because our Deucer was dead. We thought we lost. I was ready to chuck up the 30. You know, my hands were up. But hey, it is what it is. And yeah, now getting into the late game, I felt like it was really important to try to get my team to go up the hill. Even here, you know, sometimes it feels tough, especially you guys probably know this feeling. You get in a game, everyone's higher MMR than you. You're like, oh, you know, I shouldn't make calls, but that's just not, you know, you don't have to think that way. It's not, I don't think it's a healthy way to think, like, where, oh, they have higher rank, therefore they're always right, you know, or always know what they're doing. People get bored, they get lazy, they lose direction. Sometimes people just need a leader, right? Someone to group the troops up. So that's what we do here. Find the DD. I didn't want to walk up this hill. This is not a good play. I should never be the one in front. I just felt like my team was playing slow. TA was dead. I wanted to get up some deep wards. That was honestly the main reason for the smoke. We had more than one. We had a bunch of wards. I just wanted to get some deep vision. Now, fortunately for us, the Hoodwink came back. I have no clue why. Oh yeah, okay, I guess they just wanted to fight. I think they just want to fight, yeah. So, fortunately, we're up the hill, but that's where, like, you gotta get your team up and together. I call it the Slacks method. You guys know the Slacks method. Gotta get them up and ready to go. That Hoodwink pickoff turns into a tier 2. They don't want to fight us without that Hoodwink, right? And if they do, right, think about it. Maybe the enemy team doesn't have good awareness, and they do. Boom. We get a 4v5. We decided to go up the hill here. Bit of a risk for sure. Once again, Hoodwink dead, but not for too long, so we back off. I think this is the right call. Even walking up to the high ground, I think was a waste of time. Definitely not optimal. And this was like the last fight of the game, which is pretty funny because we were like 10k behind. We're still 2k behind, but first things first, really important awareness on my end in this fight. I D-ward, like I saw them coming from here, but my first instinct is to D-ward. Just because I had a feeling like because it's nighttime that they would go on me, so I wanted to protect myself first. Now, let's watch this last and final fight from Deuce's perspective. Number 1, bottle DD. Always ask if you find a DD in the late game for your mid laner's bottle. They should hopefully have kept it. It's always important to keep a bottle for the late game. And that's what they do. So he's got the DD, he's taking the shrine, they blink in. He's going to end up living this one. So fortunately for us, he lives. I threw out my ulti on to TB just because obviously I think he has Satanic, right? Oh no, he didn't. Oh, okay, I guess I didn't have to, but either way, it does make him shatter. It makes Sunder, if you put Ice Blast on TB, it makes it very awkward to Sunder because if you're not careful, you just explode, which sort of ended up happening. Not really, but okay. Let's watch this from Medusa's perspective. I thought she played this fight extremely well, and I think her awareness here was very top tier. So the reason why I say that is, okay, she gets gone on, gets ravaged. Naturally, this is like the reason why you want to Stone Gaze here is it's a very clear all-in committal, right? This is an all-in committal, so you do want to react to Stone Gaze. This is not where you hold it, and he starts auto-attacking TB. Now, couple things to note here. I did find it, like, I originally watched this back and I'm like, okay, why did he not go on TA, right? Because TA is squishier than TB, for sure, right? It's half the armor, and TB buys, like, Sanjin Yasha and sometimes Satanic. So, the reason is, I think it's just mainly because of the Ice Blast. I think he's like, yeah, this guy's just so low that I can force out Sunder. His BKB was already popped. Actually, not BKB, Minotaur Horn was already popped. Minotaur Horn was already popped. And really what was key here for me, that actually surprised me, this is a rank 3 Medusa, by the way, he full committed to this TB kill, and I really guess this was just him understanding that, hey, he is Frostbitten, or whatever it's called, Frost Blast, that I don't know, doesn't matter, you get the point, Ice Blast. Oh, that's, Frost Blast is Lich, right? God, I have like 8k games, still can't remember, that's why I dropped out of school. Okay, it's besides the point. Yeah, ends up being a really key fight, so I just love the fact that he had that awareness to say, hey, this guy's blasted, I can full commit, got the Scotty, ends up working out. It was a good Sunder on the way out, try to keep himself alive, but just wasn't enough, and yeah, huge fight for us. None of them had buyback. Insane. But once again, like, I just want you guys to even realize to some extent how that all started, like, that whole sequence of my team grouping up and moving together as a unit in the late game started for me just smoking us and walking up the hill. Do I think that was the optimal play? Me walking up that hill against the Hoodwink? No, I don't think so, but people don't understand until they play with like good captains and like just like study the games and just competitive games. They don't understand how important it is to have someone to group everyone up. And I'm not trying to like take credit and say I'm the best player of all time, but I do think plays like that are what allowed me to get to the top rank, right? Just being able to get my team on the same page, no matter who they are, no matter what the rank is, has nothing to do with it, which is why you can always learn things. Right, yeah, it's going to be about all. By the way, dude, this even, you know, I was just so happy. I threw this Ice Blast so quickly, but, you know, it's just like being able to pay attention. Look at my camera. Good camera placement, very far up, and I'm paying attention to my initiators. Nyx is not an initiator this game. He doesn't have initiation items, so I'm paying much less attention to him, almost sole attention to the axe. Axe goes for the jump onto the Mirana. I think you wanted TB as well, but gets the jump onto the Mirana, and you can see I'm paying attention, specifically to Axe and specifically to a potential jump target because of my immediate Ice Blast. No, I'm not that fast. Like, I'm paying very close attention to his movements, so once I see him blink in, basically no hesitation. It wasn't instant. Unfortunately, I'm not Jesus Christ, but you know, I'm trying to get as close as I can to that. Nonetheless, we get the kill. Ice Blast into the queue. They couldn't go in. Literally, they couldn't stop us. We got this Nyx Ags onto the ground. The Leshrac stun is just this is so disgusting. It's with the Octarine core. Oh my god. Just stuns everywhere. If you're not careful, you just get chain stun. Right, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm probably going to do more of these in the future where I just like review my pubs from different players' perspectives, especially if it's the really high MMR ones. And yeah, BSJ, shit on. Just kidding.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.